And finally, new rule, the person the world needs to hear from most about the attack on Salman Rushdie, the person with the strongest moral voice on the issue of Islamist-inspired violence, is Salman Rushdie. And the fact that he can't speak right now shows us that the wrong side won this round. And make no mistake, there are two sides to this. And no, they don't break down to Muslim and non-Muslim. There are many brave Muslims and many cowardly, stupid liberals. If all you can muster to say about this event is stabbing is bad and I'm against it, without looking at the reasons behind it, you're useless. And that just... And that describes pretty much the entire mainstream media. And here's where the tweets start coming at me. Hey, Bill, not every Muslim is responsible. Of course they're not. No serious person ever said they were. This is what's called a straw man argument, where a person doesn't engage with the actual points being made, but brings up a completely different point that was never being contested to begin with. If we are, for example, discussing how technology has made our lives easier, and I say, the smartphone is a wondrous device, and you say, so you support toddlers working in sweatshops. That's a straw man argument, even though I do support toddlers working in sweatshops.
Welcome to Mika Reaction Reviews, where we react to future things on the internet. And yet again, we are returning with Bill Maher, new rule, and he is talking about straw man. Look, I don't know much about the top of the story that he's talking about. I guess this is something that is recent. But Bill Maher has always been someone on the left that is a bit more braver than the average progressive, because he's never been afraid of criticizing the toxic side of... I'm not going to say it because they are also one of the most protected groups on the internet. He calls it out for what it is without completely demonizing one group or the other, painting it with an entire, broad brush. A famous, debate he had with Ben Affleck, got emotionally triggered, like most reactionary liberals do, when Bill Maher was simply trying to make a point that this was by someone who belonged on the toxic side of. And it's a discussion that we should be talking about.
I'm not denying that certain people are bigoted against Muslims as people, and that's a problem.
Big of you.
But
why are you so hostile about this?
It's gross. It's racist.
It's not. But it's so not.
It's like saying those
so not.
You're shifty Jew.
You're not listening
Absolutely
to
not.
what we are saying.
However, I'm not really that familiar with the story he was talking about, but I am familiar with straw man because I watch a lot of debates. And look, I'm pretty sure there's some conservative right-wing people that is on the extreme right, traditional Republicans, whatever, that also do straw man. But I'm not trying to be mean, but I feel like progressives live and thrive in the world of straw manning. And when progressives are brave enough to go debate someone on the right side of whatever ideology they're on, because usually they don't debate because they know their arguments are very weak and easily destroyed. And if they're not, catering to another emotional reactionary tribe, that their arguments just fall short, right? But when they are brave enough to go debate someone, or respectful enough to go debate someone on the right side of their ideology, it's nothing but not just straw man, but emotional straw man. And honestly, it's really annoying because I go into these debates really giving the progressive side a benefit of the doubt that they're going to come with some strong arguments, but it's just nothing but straw manning. For instance, you see a debate about abortions, and the person that is pro-life will give out some pretty good just facts and details and data. Something like most biologists believe that life is started at conception. So if most biologists, science, doctors, people who are expert in this field can agree that life starts at conception, how, as you a pro-choicer, can say when life begins when that science has already been settled? Instead of responding to the statement, it's like, oh, so you just think like if an 11-year-old gets sexually assaulted, she should be forced to carry the sexual assaulter's baby. It is like, that wasn't the argument. That wasn't the argument, but that's always where they go. emotional, extreme straw man. And one of the reasons why anybody writes a progressive usually have more facts on their side is because they're used to debating their point. They're used to arguing their point because most of us, we go against the mainstream popular narrative. And so we are used to people pushing back up against us on a daily basis. So we go do research, we go educate ourselves so we have all the tools we need to defeat our point, to defeat what we believe in. Where a lot of progressives, and I'm not saying conservatives don't do this too, but it's easier as a liberal and as a progressive to stay stuck in sort of this echo chamber where you're just like yes queening to each other all day every day, but you're never getting pushback on your ideology or your belief system. So when you do, it's like you fucking just malfunction and you don't know how to come back to actual data and facts. Because a lot of progressive sort of talking points are just protest slogans, like my body, my choice. It's like protest slogans without actually detailed, broken down, intellectual arguments that is rooted in science and facts and data and history and all those things. So again, I'm not saying that conservatives don't do straw manning, but it's just like from what I've seen, a lot of the times it's progressives that they straw man or they just screech on the top of their lungs some sort of racist, phobic something. Accuse you of being the worst of the worst because they can't argue their points. And a lot of times they get emotional and actually start crying because they realize they can't argue their point, and so they start fucking freaking out. It's amusing to watch, but it's sad as well. But anyway, guys, I've been talking long enough. We're gonna get back into Bill Maher. Please like, comment, subscribe, hit the bell to get the notifications when I do upload. All of that really does help with the algorithm, guys. And if you'd like to support the channel further, you can donate. My PayPal me link is in the description box below, also in the comment section. Of course, it helps, but you don't have to. You can just like, comment, and subscribe. Another great way to support this channel is either join my brand new membership program, different levels, different tiers, different perks, or you can visit my brand new merch shop, links down below. And if you like, you can super thanks. Other than that, sit back, relax, and enjoy the video. All right, here you go.
But the straw man argument has been used so often with this issue that I'm discussing here tonight that I thought instead of letting straw man's misleading arguments go unrebutted, I'd invite him on the show. So please, a nice round of applause for straw man, ladies and gentlemen. See? There he is. There he is. There he is. I know. He does. And he's man-spreading. Stay there. Nice to have you on the show. I appreciate you coming. I hear you had a difficult flight. I know those overhead bins can be very uncomfortable. Anyway, there's someone I want you to meet. This is Salman Rushdie. She is the mother of the young man who stabbed my friend. When she was asked what she now had to say to her son, Miss Rushdie said, "I have nothing to say to him." She said, "I'm done with him." Okay, that's a hero. That's courage. Salman Rushdie could have spewed the kind of Weasley crap we heard from so many faint-hearted writers after the Charlie Hebdo massacre. Nonsense about how those murdered cartoonists had it coming because they were punching down and, well, yes, a room full of corpses, but on the other hand, those cartoons were offensive. But she didn't do that. She had the guts to say, "I give no quarter to people who think like that, even when it's my son."
First of all, I'm not surprised that a journalist basically gave some sort of excuse to someone who killed a bunch of people just because they wrote a bunch of offensive cartoons. Yeah, kudos to the mom, because recently we had that whole mother who was stalked by a shooter who tried to kill her and her kids. The guy who stalked the family shot through the mother's walls and doors trying to murder them. And after a 5-hour standoff with the cops trying to negotiate the person who tried to kill an entire family, they finally ended the life of the shooter. And then a bunch of NPC Black Lives Matter mindlessly went out and protested.
You're alive!
Shut up! There's bullet holes in my kitchen because he sat in the fucking hallway. I don't have a place to call home. I can't sleep that night.
She's obviously going through a moment.
And when the mother came out and she was like, "Hey, like, he tried to kill us. This is not a protest worth, protesting." And then the parents of the shooter came out and basically like leaned into that sort of talking point, that narrative, saying like, our son was a good son, you know, if he was a white kid, this would have never happened. Her entire family almost being killed off is a completely different subject than our black son being killed by white cops, even though they gave him 5 hours to negotiate and to surrender. No, they should have came out and said, we fucked up as parents by not looking at the warning signs of our child's mental health issues. We are so sorry that our kid did this to you. There are absolutely no excuses. That's what those parents should have done. So kudos to this woman for not excusing her son's bad behavior, because way too many parents do that. And I think a lot of parents do that because they hate to admit to themselves, look in the mirror and see how they failed their children, they failed as a parent, and they failed society around them. Anyway, let's continue.
Now, am I saying every Muslim house is harboring a terrorist? No. What I am saying is liberals, instead of screaming Islamophobia every time someone points out the unique right that Islam demands to kill you if you insult their God, you should be supporting people like Silvana Fardos and the vast majority of Muslims who came to this country because they didn't want to live under this kind of thuggery and theocracy.
This is just my assumption. I'm pretty sure the majority of people that went out and said, this is Islamophobia. You can't ever criticize this community whatsoever, no matter what they do. No. I'm pretty sure most of the people who do that were white progressives, because it's always the white progressives that seem more triggered than the community that it affects the most. You know, they always come caping for the black community, caping for the Muslim community, caping for all the minority communities, where we're like, can you step back? We know what's going on and we can speak for ourselves. It's like when Donald Trump said that, you know, Baltimore was a falling apart city, it was a failed democratic city, it was rat infested, and all the liberals came out and was like, oh my God, he's so racist, and then they went to Baltimore. I think it has a mostly black community, said, Donald Trump's right. It is a falling apart city. It is rat infested. The politicians has failed us. And instead of being your fake outrage, virtual signaling selves, maybe you actually should care and actually, you know, ask the politicians, why haven't they fixed this city? Why don't they care about the citizens? It's so easy just to virtue signal about a fucking issue in the community. You have no idea what the fuck is going on. Instead of actually educating yourselves. And this is why I said a lot of progressives don't actually educate themselves in a situation. That's why when they try to debate, their arguments fall apart, because all they know is virtue signal, virtue signal, virtue signal. And if you guys are upset with me for saying white progressive, okay, not all white progressives and not all progressives are white, but a lot of them are. Anyway, let's continue.
Ms. Fardos said her formerly outgoing son returned from a 2018 trip to the Hezbollah-controlled region of Lebanon, returned a religious zealot and a changed man, which raises the question, what happened in Lebanon? Did he stay at the Holiday Inn Express? Am I saying everyone in Lebanon is a fanatic? No. But Hezbollah? Their idea of moderate is a hijacker with an emotional support dog. We can't have exceptions for violence based on religion. In a free country, we get to opine on religion or anything else without the threat of violence. And I'm not...
It's like those who forgive people who, you know, immigrate to other countries, but they come from a culture that believes in child brides. And it's like, did you know that a lot of times when that happens, the country that they immigrate to, even though it's against the law to marry underage, they will let them stay together because they don't want to offend their culture, right? Or there's women who have been sexually assaulted by someone from a different culture, and that person gets let off because of cultural insensitivity. Like, you have to be sensitive to their culture. In their culture, a woman doing certain things means this, so that's why they decided to harass you. It's ridiculous. It's like they will let the most disgusting things pass because they belong to a protected class, But if you're a white conservative Trump supporter, you are the worst thing that's ever existed. It makes no sense. Their values and principles are so fucked up. Anyway, let's continue.
And I'm not the bad guy for calling out excuse me, I'm still talking. And I'm precisely saying they're not all bad guys. Also, I thought victim blaming was something liberals hated. Why do their values always get turned around when religion is involved? Women's rights, gay rights, protecting children, separation of church and state, and free speech. Look.
Like I said, their principles and values are all fucked up. They're not consistent, and it does switch and change depending on who's involved, right? Feminists are crazy worrying feminists about the patriarchy, smash the patriarchy. You're like, oh, what about these women in this culture over here that has absolutely no fucking rights? It's like, wow, who am I to put my, project my morals into that, you know what I mean? It's fucking ridiculous. And not only does that happen, a lot of women and men who speak out and say, this has been happening to me, this is what happens in our culture, they get silenced. Not only do they get silenced, they get bullied off the internet and harassed. It's the same thing as detransitioners who try to speak out about what's going on. They get bullied, they get silenced, and they get labeled all, the despicable things to label someone these days. But there's such a loving, accepting, inclusive community. Just like Bill Maher, I'm going to say there's tons of Muslim communities out there. A lot of people think there's just in the Middle East. There's like actually a lot of Asian countries that are also Islamic or Muslim that do not believe in any of these radical things or the extreme beliefs or anything like that. But you know that the radical toxic side exists. Just like the radical toxic side exists of Catholicism or even Christianity or even things like Buddhism and Hinduism. I live in these New Age spiritual communities, and you do see these cult-like fucking groups and communities that does harm to other people. There is a toxic side to any community, and no community should be so protected because when they do something wrong to someone, no one's allowed to talk about it. That's fucked up. Anyway, let's continue.
I don't know if you get to the theater a lot. But there was a show a few years ago. You probably remember the show. We all remember. It was fantastic on Broadway. It did very well. The Book of Mormon. You remember this show? It poked fun at the Mormon religion, and even more offensive, had music. No. Let's not kid each other. Look, my friend. We both know what would happen if you tried to put on a show called The Book of Muhammad and poke gentle fun at Islam. And no, again, I'm not saying most Muslims would want to bomb that theater, but just as certainly some young man would. And saying so does not make me an Islam. Let me finish!
The thing is, he's right, because Lauren Sutherland, if you don't know who Lauren Sutherland is, she used to be like the princess of the hyper-conservative, hyper-traditional area of YouTube, right? She's kind of become a little bit more moderate since then. But there is a sign in the UK that says like Jesus is gay or something like that. And everybody's like, that's so funny, Jesus is gay. And I personally don't give a flying fuck if someone has a sign that says Jesus is gay. So she said, okay, fine. So she put, is gay. And oh my God, people had a fucking tantrum. Same thing, different spiritual leader, got a completely different reaction. No group should be that protected. If it's good for the goose, it's good for the fucking gander. Anyway, let's continue.
Forget it. But Silvana Fardos, she's who liberals should be supporting. Salman Rushdie will survive because he's not a keyboard warrior, he's a real warrior. But I worry if this country's commitment to free speech will do the same.
All right, that's it, guys. That was Bill Maher. New World talking about straw manning the argument. Let me know what you guys think in the comment section below. What I said, what he said in the comment section below. Please like, comment, subscribe. Hit that bell to get the notifications when I do upload. All of that really does help with the algorithm, guys. And if you'd like to support the channel even further, you can donate. My PayPal me link is in the description box below and also in the comment section. Of course, it helps, but you don't have to. You can just like, comment, and subscribe. Another great way to support this channel is either join my brand new membership program, different levels, different tiers, different perks, or you can visit my brand new merch shop. Links down below, and links to all of the eternal platforms I'm on, my socials, including my Twitter, all the ways to support me and all the ways to contact me for business is always in the links down below. And if you like, you can super things. I also have a second travel vlog channel. I travel as a lifestyle, or I live abroad. If you'd like to know where I am in the world, you can go in the description box below and also in the comment section, hit the link. Go subscribe to my travel vlog channel and or follow me on my travel Instagram. My stories is usually what's most up to date. And I also have my other channel, Speak Freely, links down below. And you guys have an amazing day.